Hey guys, it's Natty, and I want you to stop what you're doing. Yes, you. And go and check out my podcast, Naughty by Natty. I read, share, and explain stories that are sexual, forbidden, fact, fiction, good, bad, ugly, naughty, nice, not so nice, and so much more. I also interview amazing people with amazing stories to tell. If you would like to be a guest on my podcast or submit yours, your brother, uncle, cousin, aunt, sister, whoever's music, you can email me at naughtybynatty@gmail.com and you can hear it here. So, what are you waiting for?
Our use of language is a prude's worst nightmare. Content is explicit. You have been warned. Welcome! You're listening to Bewitched Banter.
I'm Krista, and I believe that people are inherently shitty.
And I'm Amy, and I tend to believe that people are naturally good.
But ironically, I'm a super believer in the supernatural and all things spiritual.
And I'm a total skeptic.
We're best friends, and in this podcast, we're seeking to explore and understand each other's perspectives with deep dives into the spooky, the spiritual, and the magical, and the mystical.
Did you get it? And some straight up spoofs.
Today, oh my god, you guys, on top of tarot, this is like one of my favorite things. Today we're covering dreams, and
It's all a dream.
used to read What Up magazine. Heavy D, Salt-N-Pepa, all up in the limousine. That's the extent of my rapping.
I don't know any of the lyrics.
No, I'm super stoked though, for real, because this is something I've always had associated with my woo-woo-ness, and it's just one of the largest topics that goes right in hand with it. And
Well, dreams in general, are, no matter who you are, I think dreams are so fascinating. Like when you wake up and you're like, oh, when you have that random person who is in your dream, maybe you haven't talked to them since middle school, and you're like,
yep,
and you just question
all the time.
You question how that happens, or the things that you do in your dreams are just so odd.
And there's a lot of theories we'll get into about that. But I wanted to start out with this personal story real quick. And it's really ironic because I just saw my dear friend Stephanie from college, and my roommate and just dear friend and her husband were in town visiting. And I have a story related to dreams and Stephanie. So I shared the story of going to a psychic when I was in high school.
Do a quick
and a recap of that
yeah.
is it was a witch actually. So for our witches episode, it was a witch and a psychic. She read my cards, and among other things with my family, she also predicted I would have a roommate situation, which Stephanie and I did have, where one of our roommates just randomly up and left in the middle of the year on us, and we were screwed. So again, that's
in the dorms.
Yeah.
Why would it matter if you were?
Because they were really close friends, so it was more of an emotional thing.
Oh, okay. It's financially, it shouldn't matter the dorms.
And so, anyway, I felt really bad because, they were really good friends, and they're now reconciled, which is good, but they went through some shit. And anyway, so that was predicted, but the other thing, as she said, was talking about that I'm going to be fine because one of your roommates is just going to be awesome and have your back. And again, we're not going to get into the debate of how easily that could have been predicted right now. But my point being, saw the psychic, and then, I'm getting nervous. And this is before I even met Stephanie and was assigned my roommates at all. But I had this dream. I was in my old childhood home in Connecticut, and I was obviously in an anxiety dream because I'm leaving home at 17 for the first time across the country. And so it's clearly, as we'll get into my history, it was projecting my anxiety of leaving home and all that. And I walk downstairs or float downstairs, who knows, in dreams. I don't remember that part. And my parents had this back door, which was sliding French door that was the entry to the house. That's the way you came in. And everybody knew that. And I remember opening the door wide open, and I see this beautiful woman, or young woman, I should say. And she's this.
Was this a sex dream?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No. Surprisingly, it was not a thirsty correlation for once in my life. No, and she just this, she looks like a Mexican goddess, basically. And I opened the door, and it was hey, I'm Stephanie, and like everything's gonna be like, and it was like she didn't even say everything's gonna be okay, but she had this energy of like just enveloping me in like, I got you, we're gonna get through this. And that dream has never left me, and I always knew like meeting her, it would be like that. And it's just weird. So I told her that dream, and like she's always actually respected it, even though she has quite religious beliefs. I also think that she's just like feels our psychic connection. And I know that's so corny, but she and I are very, very just psychically connected. And I love that. And this dream, like, it helped me feel okay that I was going to go away and not only be okay, but meet this lifelong dear friend / I'm willing to say soulmate, honestly, after we discovered, like, she just has always been there for me in a way I can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was a dream I will never forget. And turns out, you know, she is this stunning, like, Latina badass woman. And I remember going out, getting ready, and looking at her and my other roommate, a beautiful African-American woman. Like, and I was like, oh, great. I'm just like this pasty, like, whatever. And I have black, like, Mexican goddess over here and like fucking Beyonce. Like,
hey, don't diss yourself.
But anyway, that was my dream story that I wanted to share with you. And obviously among the many recurring dreams that would happen in life. But tell me about some of your dreams, if you remember any of them, or if you had weird ones or like recurring ones.
I had one that just sticks out, and I don't know why, but I've had it twice, and it was when I was younger, where my teeth fell out.
Oh, yep, that's...
And then I had one where my whole entire jaw fell out.
Oh God! Oh, that's awful.
And I was walking around holding my jaw in my sleep, or not my sleep, in my dream.
Okay.
And I remember I don't usually look up dreams because usually there's more funny stories. I'll share them with like if like my high school friends or in my dreams are like, oh my God, like guess what happened? But yeah, so that one I actually looked up, and it was like something about. It was supposed to say like worrying about your appearance.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That was one of them. And then other reoccurring dreams, I'm sure I have several. I just can't think of any now because it's so weird how with dreams, we all experience it where you wake up and you think about it, and then 5 minutes gone, you already forgot your dream.
Yes. And there's a science behind that and remembering too. So
yeah, I can't at this point, I can't think of anything, but I used to be a huge sleep talker.
Oh, I feel like I've only heard you do that once, or you've told me you've done this.
Yes. So me and my sister went on a trip, and I was taking malaria pills because, malaria...
COVID. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it gives, the pills you have to take give you really vivid dreams.
Oh, cool.
And so I have two stories about it. So on this trip, we were in Southeast Asia, and... the first night, I was kind of having anxiety because we were going to do like a group traveling trip with these people. And I think it was like for 4 weeks. It was the night before we met people. And I obviously had anxiety about meeting the people, if I was going to like them. And just being like in a foreign country, a whole new experience. So I wake up in the middle of the night. I sit straight up, and I was like asking my sister, I was like, do you remember meeting those people from our tour? And my sister, like, because she was like half asleep, and she was like, like, she kept taking me seriously, right? She was like, we did not meet these people. And then another night, I woke up straight up, and then I was like, I go, where's the bathroom? And I pointed to one wall and to the next wall. I wasn't pointing at the doors. And my sister's like, those aren't doors, Amy. That's not the bathroom. And then this is a good one. In England, I used to have like night terrors all the time. This is probably the worst one. I sat straight up in the middle of the night, pitch black. You know how like hotel rooms are super dark? Mm-hmm. My poor cousin, I sat up in the middle of the night and I said, hey, there's someone in our room. And I'm really calm about it.
That. No, that shit is sleep paralysis, which we're going to cover. No.
And I was like, there's someone in our room. And my cousin obviously said her heart was racing. She sits straight up, turns the light on. And she goes, where, Amy, where? And I pointed towards there's a little hallway to the bathroom. And I was like, over there. And she's like, no one's there, Amy. And then I was like, oh, yeah. And then I just like went back to bed.
You just fell back asleep.
Yeah. And then she told me.
That's so fucked up.
She said that because her heart was racing so much. She was like, I could not go back to bed. And then the next morning, she woke up and told me, and I didn't remember any of it. I used to do that all the time.
I'd be so mad at you on that because I believe in ghosts and intruders, obviously in real life, but like, oh my God.
I have a lot of dream
stories. That's so fucked up.
I have so many dream stories.
Lindsay.
Another time,
oh my God.
Caitlin, one time, my roommate in college, she's in her bedroom. It's across the hall. And then all of a sudden she hears like this commotion. And then she hears me like breathing really heavily, like, and I like scream, and she's like, Caitlin's thinking like, do I jump out the window? Is there an intruder? And she's like, Amy, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I go, there's something in my bed. And she's like, turn on the light. But I was like, no, you have to stand on the bed to turn the light on.
Oh no.
And there's something in my bed. And eventually she's like she's brave enough to do it. And then we turn the light on. There's nothing.
Oh my God.
So I'm a very vivid, I don't do it so much, but as a young age, I had really vivid dreams and night terrors and stuff. Well,
that's wild.
Corey's first experience ever spending the night, I forgot to warn him that I have crazy dreams. And so it was his first night at my apartment. We're sound asleep. I sit straight up and I just scream bloody murder. And obviously he's like scared to death. And then again, I just go to bed, back to bed.
Wow.
And then he told me the next day and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, sorry.
And he stuck around. See, look at that. It was love.
I was like, I should have warned you about that.
Oh my God.
But yeah, those are all my dumb dream stories.
Imagine you're dating someone and they just do that.
Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, I was like, I don't want to do it because I don't want to blast everyone's ears out right now. But yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. So I love that you're actually into dreams of all the woo-woo things.
I don't know if it's that woo-woo because we all experience it.
Yeah.
Where I think in comparison, like a ghost sighting, we don't all experience that.
She's doing air quotes, everyone.
Yes, but dreams, I think anyone could relate about dreams. And everyone has like weird dreams.
Mm-hmm. I used to have the teeth falling out one all the time. I hated that. And I would have the flying downstairs one a lot. And then I would have kidnapping one that was recurring. That shit was real scary.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that meant. I've looked it up over the years, but I don't know. Getting back to that though, right? Images and dreams and symbols. No surprise that our interest in why we dream goes back thousands of years, all the way back to Plato and Confucius asking all these questions of like, do we actually go somewhere while we dream? What's happening? And human brains trying to make sense of the unmake sensible, right? Mm-hmm. All the way back then and what they mean. So what is a dream in theory and in definition? Obviously, it's a unique, we know what it is. We all experience it, right? As it's the universal human experience, but it is a unique state of consciousness that incorporates the experience of present, processing the past, and perception or preparation of the future. And it happens with images, thoughts, sensations occurring in the person's mind while we sleep. As we know, dreams can be funny, sexy, foreboding. They can be downright strange, nonsensical, right? We all know that. The movie The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, that's my favorite movie.
They do such an incredible job of visualizing dreams, right? And how they can morph and they did such a wonderful visual, because how do you take something so subjective and so unique to each of us and put it in film? And they did a wonderful job.
Yeah, that's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, I think it's one of mine for sure. The mystery is still a mystery to scientists and psychologists who study them to this day. There is no cognitive state that has been as extensively studied and as simultaneously misunderstood as dreaming. So we have put science behind it over the years, as we know, but we still have because we can't study it while we're asleep as actual subjects. The only thing we have to rely on is the patients or the people's studies when they wake up, right? And we know that that's not always accurate. Mm-hmm. So there is some science behind it, but to this day, there's no one consensus, and it's still something that haunts, if you will, our dreams. Our dreams haunt our dreams, right? Because we want to understand what the hell they are and why.
I mean, it's kind of cool though.
It's so fucking cool. I love dreams, always have, and no surprise, I have a whole book on meanings of them. Very vague, but anyway, some quick facts here to start. We all dream, obviously. We spend nearly 10 years of our waking lives in dreams.
10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a big chunk of time.
Women are more likely to remember our dreams than men on a weekly basis.
Do they know why?
That's not in this quick hit facts here. So I don't know why.
I'd be just
Great
curious
questions.
why women remember it more.
Maybe it's just something of the wiring of our brains, or there's some theories I'll get into in a moment about the why and brain processing functions. But maybe it's just something the way women's brain structures are built and wired for survival. I don't know. And let's see. Obviously, again, like I said, the way we think about dreams has really, really morphed over the years. So initially, as I said, it was believed by humans and Egyptians to be an early spiritual connection, and every culture and around the world felt this way, that dreams were coming from external beings, gods, goddesses, spirits, what have you. So something from not with internal, right? And Egyptians loved dreams so much they wrote volumes and volumes of scriptures and books on this, and to interpret the meaning of what dreams are. So to this day, a lot of the symbols are harkening back to the symbols created by the ancient Egyptians and the allegory and the archetypes. Then we get into, we're going to fast forward real ahead from ancient Egypt into the 1900s, when we get Freud. And this is for the first time in human history where humans are linking dreams to understand our unconscious desires. So again, first time that we're looking at dreams as something that actually, oh, hey, maybe they come from within us, not from actual gods or spirits.
So do you know what year approximately we started?
1900.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Freud wrote this book on, again, our understanding the unconscious mind is what it's called. And he had a dream that was actually now famous, and it's called Irma's dream. And it was about a former patient that refused his treatment. And he was so, I guess, haunted by this that he couldn't figure out why, and that he couldn't help her. And this was his dream. It sparked the whole idea that dreams come from within, because he was so bothered by the fact that he couldn't have a resolution for this one patient, that he posited that dreams are unrealized desires, dreams, fears, traumas. That's what Freud proposed. And we still believe that largely to this day on a broad sense, but scientifically, I'll get into in a little bit, there are more scientific viewpoints and theories of the why we dream.
Okay.
So Carl Jung, also a famous psychologist, studied archetypal symbols. He took Freud's method and belief a little further, that not only do dreams represent our unconscious desires, but they also have universal archetypal human symbols. And he believed that we compensated, again, for fears, desires, things that we couldn't accomplish in life. We compensated for them in our dreams.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Okay, cool. So for example, like even humans to this day, we so much believe in our dreams that one example I read was that if you dream of, let's say you dream of a plane crash the night before you're about to take a flight, you're more likely to not go on the flight because of your dream than if you were actually to get government intel that says it's a dangerous flight.
I don't believe that.
You believe they did studies. You would.
How? Well, who are these people? Because I feel like that's kind of dumb.
But I wouldn't if I dreamt that.
would. It's a dream. It's a fear of. If the government told me not to get on, yes, I wouldn't get on. But if a dream, I'd be like, I don't think I can predict things in my dream.
I believe very much that dreams are connectivity to the universe and other worlds, and no surprise.
I think that you dream from experiences you've had or fears. And I don't believe it's a prediction of the future by any means.
Yeah, so that's old way of thinking, like I'm getting to. I still believe that, though. I just have a belief in that, and I won't get rid of that. Although I do respect modern science, believe it or not. Like, what functions and benefits do we get from dreaming in the first place? Some posit that it's a side effect, as you're saying, just based on biological processes and activation of just overactive nerves and neurons firing all day. So they think it's like one theory is it's random noise that's being made through these neural pathways being mended overnight.
Okay, I think that's fascinating.
That's what they think. One theory. Why? Here's some whys. over the years that have been like, why the fuck do we dream at all, right? Like, what's the purpose? Some people think, scientists think it's to learn something new. Some believe it's to store and retrieve episodic moments or memories. Some think it is to replay experiences, to learn from them. And
couldn't there be the argument there's no benefit? We just dream?
There might be. That has not been... Well, that's more or less the byproduct theory of like, it's just byproduct of your biological brain just shooting off.
Yeah, because I feel like it's human nature to want a rhyme, or I've said this several times. We want a rhyme and reason for everything, but there always isn't a rhyme or reason.
Right.
And humans have a hard time understanding that.
Right. We do. We very much do, and which is why I think I hold so many of the beliefs I do, right? Because I have to have some meaning. There has to be some meaning of something, but maybe there doesn't. I'm not comfortable thinking that shit just happens, you know? I've never believed that, and it's hard for me to accept that. If that's indeed the truth, I still deny it blindly. So,
I mean, I think there's a certain amount of beauty of stuff does just happen. There's no explanation. I don't really find it a depressing thought. I guess the way I look at it.
I think it's very depressing. But I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it is just all shit luck of the draw in this plane and planet. I still have a very hard time buying into that, and maybe just because for me it's too hard to accept, right? I have to believe, for me to survive this crazy thing we call life, that there's got to be meaning to it. And
I'm not saying there's not meaning to life. I'm just saying maybe your dreams don't always have a meaning.
Gotcha.
And that's okay.
Gotcha. Nope, I always believe they have had some type of meaning. And
well, I mean,
again, it's something I hope, it's just a value and belief I will cling to. And
are we being on brand here?
We are. Look at us.
Oh, yeah.
Little debate action today, which is nice. Okay, so is it random? Is it not? We don't really know. But Harvard psychiatrists J. Allen Hobson and Robert McCarley in 1977, they're the ones that say it's just random, and it's our brain's attempts to make sense of such random patterns, again, of firing off the neurons while we sleep. So essentially, like I said, dreaming is just a byproduct of our brain's processing, during sleep. And they believe that dreams don't actually mean anything, exactly to your point. They're merely just electrical impulses going off.
I don't necessarily think they don't have meaning. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I believe they can be random, but I do think your life experiences or your anxieties or emotions play a role in your dreams. I'm not saying they are meaningless, because obviously if you, like you said at the beginning of the episode, you had anxiety, so you had this dream.
Mm-hmm. And to me, fortuitously told me who Stephanie was going to be in my life. Because this is, again, before I knew who she was, before I met her, and it was her in my dream.
I mean, I don't believe that, but...
Well, that happened. I'm here living proof to tell you that's what the fuck happened to me.
I understand. I just disagreement here. I don't believe people predict the future in their dreams, but I feel like life experiences can shape your dreams, and that's why you have them. I don't think they're totally meaningless,
Gotcha.
But I do think you can have random dreams.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And, well, these two psychiatrists from Harvard say they are all random. Other theory is potentially that it's actually really cool. The video I watched, it was a little bit of an animation, but back in the day when we were hunters and gatherers out in the land, obviously we had to protect ourselves from threats. And when the sun went down, it was dark. And so what this theory proposes is that we had to keep our sight active during the night so that we didn't lose that skill when we woke in the day, when it was bright out. So the theory thinks that we're almost simulating sight to protect ourselves so we don't go blind, essentially, when the sun rose.
So is this a new, modern theory, or a theory from back in the day?
No, this is more modern. It's
okay.
Just a theory of potentially why we dream at all.
Okay, that's that's fascinating.
Isn't that? Because we use so much chunks of our visceral cortex of our brains to see, right? And so if during the night, if it shuts off and it's not being used, just like all of the rest of our muscles, if it's not used, they dysmorph. What's the word? Isn't that dysmorph muscle? fatigue when you lose muscle mass? Shoot. Well, think about like
degrade. No.
Yeah. Shit. What's the word? Oh my god.
We don't have a vocabulary
Sorry,
right
guys. Now. Saturday morning and we're chilling. But when we don't use our muscles, obviously they lose strength, right? And that's the same with our visual cortex of our brain. So this theory says, okay, well, during the night we'll keep it going so that during the day you can see and you don't go blind. And that was a theory that, yes, when we were that early on in humanity, but this theory has been proposed more recently about
that's super fascinating.
Of our evolution. Yeah, I thought so too.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit more fast facts. We may not remember everything while dreaming, but everyone is thought to dream between 3 and 6 times a night.
Really? That's so crazy because there's you can have weeks that go by and you don't remember a dream.
Yep. It's thought that each dream lasts between 5 and 20 minutes.
That's it?
Yep. I know, that's little, right? Because
I hate when you have a really good dream and you wake up and you're like, damn it, I want to go back to bed. That was a beautiful dream I was just having.
Well, there is something called lucid dreaming, which I will get into.
I know they can actually communicate with people when they're lucid dreaming.
Yes.
Did you come across that in your research?
Yep.
Okay.
I did.
I just stumbled across it when I was looking for my story.
Yeah. My woman's so badass. I can't wait to tell you about her, but we'll hold. She's the queen of dreams, P.S. And that was her name. Around 95% of dreams are forgotten, again, by the time we get out of bed.
I believe that.
Which sucks, because I hate, like you said, I hate, you know something was good, or the emotion sticks with you all day long. It literally clouds, your being all day of oh man, that was a good one, or that was hot. I'm talking about sexy dreams, or sad, or,
Sometimes I think certain dreams, though, might be nice to not remember.
Yeah,
there's a
scary-ass ones.
Or you have a stress dream.
Oh, the worst.
Or
the school ones. The classic,
you pee your pants.
School, or pee your pants, yeah. Or I've been lately having the recurring one of, not passing college.
That's so weird.
Isn't that weird? And I've been having that, I say once a month in the last
really
several
strange.
months of oh my God, I didn't do this class. I didn't. And actually, a matter of fact, I think I dreamt that last night, now that I'm recalling this, of being so far along and having to lie to my dad about my transcripts and oh shit, how am I gonna say I passed this Spanish class or this math class? I did have this last night. This has been happening a lot lately. I'm gonna look up what it means. It's something anxiety related. It's gotta be.
Well, it might be because you have anxieties about teaching.
Girl, look at you being all Freudian over here. I love that.
I mean, you were dreaming about school,
college,
getting deadlines.
Yeah,
I feel like I just put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Call me Dr. Holt.
Professor Dr. Holt, PhD.
And dreams. Starting today. Tell me about your bullshit. Sit down. Come on.
Dreaming can help you learn and develop long-term memories. There you go. And
I need to dream more then because my long-term memory is pretty shitty.
Yeah, mine is. No, my long-term is great. Short-term, we got issues with that, as we know. And then finally, blind people dream more with their other sensory components. No real shock there compared to sighted people. So they feel other senses versus see in their dreams.
That makes sense.
Makes sense,
yeah.
Right?
So they can they probably wake up and think more about what they were hearing in their dreams.
Exactly.
Or tasting. That's really, yeah, I can see that.
Yep. Before we get into the sleep cycle, which is very important to dreaming, I just have a few more things of potential functions of dreaming.
Okay.
And explanations. They, again, could represent unconscious desires and wishes. They could just be consolidating and processing the information we've already gathered during the day. Mm-hmm. They can, Dr. Holt, work as a form of psychotherapy. And they can warn us of future threats, potentially. Again, maybe in that example I shared of us in our evolution, potentially maybe that's what it was to help us, visualize and remember visually where the dinosaur lives or whatever the fuck, the wildebeest. I don't know. I don't think we existed with dinosaurs.
Loch Ness monsters coming after your ass.
Exactly. And you need to know where they live. So you got to remember where to visually go, not to go.
I mean, I feel like that's really fascinating.
Isn't it? I thought that was real cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then memory reprocessing. And again, to learn and record certain tasks.
That makes sense too.
So those are some of the possibilities of why they still don't know for sure, which I think is makes it, again, the unknown. That's why we're all so obsessed with a lot of mystical things, including dreaming, because we all experience it, but nobody can tell us why.
I think if we knew the why, it would kind of take the fun and the appeal away from it all.
Totally.
Because it's probably really boring.
It probably is.
It's like, oh, your brain needs some synapses, or because I'm such a scientist now. I know what I'm talking about.
You use synapses. Excellent work. Well, there are 5 phases of a sleep cycle, and stage 1 is light sleep. Slow eye movement, reduced muscle activity. You know, think about when you're just laying in bed, you're just like getting
relaxed,
calming down. Yeah. And that represents about 4 to 5% of all of our sleep.
Okay.
Stage 2, the eye movement stops. Brain waves become slower with occasional bursts of rapid waves called sleep spindles. This stage forms 44 to 55% of our sleep.
Because rapid eye movements when you're in the deepest sleep, right? And a lot of people don't get there, and that's why they're tired all the time. Is that right?
Yep, especially in drunk sleep. So why you're always tired when hungover is because you don't get REM sleep while on a drunk brain.
Do we know why?
That I did not look into, but I think it's probably something to do with overactivity. Right?
Okay, interesting.
But that's a total guess. All I know is that you don't get REM, and that's why you're always like, God damn, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, even though you got like 12 hours of sleep.
Yep, exactly. Stage 3 is extremely slow brain waves called delta waves, delta variant.
I know, delta kind of...
Too soon.
That word kind of triggers me.
Too soon. But delta waves begin to appear, and they're smaller, faster, so pulsating. This accounts for 4 to 6% of our total sleep. Stage 4... the brain processes these delta waves almost only exclusively. So, like, instead of having all the other forms of stuff going on, it's now delta focused. It is difficult to wake someone during stage 3 and 4. And this is, again, because 3 and 4, to your point, are called deep sleep together. So
that's probably why some days you wake up more tired than other days. Because you're probably in that deep sleep.
Exactly.
Oh, I hate that feeling. When you're so tired and you have to get out of bed.
Oh, the worst.
Dark and I feel like this past week it's been so dark and cold.
So cold this week and windy. Yes,
look at
Phoenix, but it's cold as fuck, guys.
It gets down to 40 here.
It does.
So give us a little grace.
And it's been real windy and real cold. Don't add
on
us.
our standards.
Don't add us, Alaska folks, or wherever you are in
Midwest
or
Eastern.
Northeast.
They're like, fuck you.
Get out of here.
That's how I would be if I lived in
Yeah, I would too. You know I was when I was
You don't
cold.
want to know what real winter is anymore.
F with that. So in stages 3 and 4, again, deep sleep, there are no eye movement or muscle activity. And again, like exactly what you said, people awaken while in a deep sleep don't adjust immediately and often feel disoriented several minutes after waking up. This counts for 12 to 15% of our sleep, deep sleep.
Okay.
And finally, stage 5 is known as rapid eye movement or REM. Breathing becomes more rapid, irregular, shallow. The eyes are going back like crazy. Your limbs and muscles are temporarily paralyzed, and your heart rate increases, and your blood pressure goes up.
I wonder if you burn more calories in REM.
Oh. Well, you certainly have blood flow, because the next sentence is that this is when men get woodies in the middle of their sleep.
I just got R-rated.
I PC'd that one for myself.
Wow. What happened to you?
I don't know. I'm trying to be good, but it's hard. Anyway, when your man wakes up with morning wood, he must have just been in REM sleep. So
I bet we should look that up later and see if you do burn more calories in REM. Because
Okay.
if your heart's beating faster, don't you think you would be?
Yeah.
I think it'd just be fascinating. We'll update you guys on Thursday's episode.
Yeah. Anyhow, REM sleep accounts for 20 to 25% of your sleep time.
Okay. That's quite a big chunk then.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that much.
It is here where we believe that most dreaming happens.
So you might have said this at the top. I can't remember. So these are cycles, but we obviously probably go through these cycles several times a night. Is that right? Do we know like how many cycles we go through? Or should I
think it's one cycle. So I think these stages happen in the whole sleep process.
We could look that up and update people on Thursday too.
Yeah, because I think from what I understood was so you have sleep as one big ass process with these stages.
Okay. Let's double check and then we'll update you guys.
Yeah, that's a great question because if you think about it, you're going through all these different bodily changes during one phase of sleep, and that would just be one chunk. And again, I'm theorizing here, and then when you go back to sleep again, it would start the whole stages all over.
You're not calling yourself Dr. Hens?
I mean, I could. I'd assume my sister's identity. Thanks, sis. But no, that would be effed up. And she studies vagina. So anyhow, so REM sleep is where we are believed to have most of our dreams. You can dream in other deep sleep stages 3 and 4. However, the most vivid and ones we remember and feel, when we feel it the next day, it happens in REM.
Okay.
So there are 2 schools of thought and study that have very vastly different takes on the study of why we dream. There is neuroscientific, and again, that studies the structures involved in dream production, organization, and narrate ability, which I believe means like how we're able to follow our dream processes through our brains. And that's very scientific. The other one is both are scientific, by the way, because they're studying these with the scientific method, but the neuroscientific obviously goes after like the processes. Psychoanalytic is where you are studying the meaning of dreams and placing them in context of your life and the relationship with the person dreaming.
Okay.
So 2 types of studies. We get into different types of dreams here now. Nightmares. Dun, dun, dun.
I've had a lot of nightmares in my day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you sound like you had quite the scaries.
I don't have nightmares as much as I used to, but my nightmares were so vivid that I used to always like yell if Corey walked in the room.
The kitchen rapist.
Yeah. And then my sister, I went on a trip with her and her ex-boyfriend, and I noticed like 3 nights into the trip, they'd be like, Amy, I'm going to the restroom. Amy, I'm getting up for a glass of water. Because I would yell at them every time in my sleep.
Oh, wow.
I'd be like, who are you?
That's wild.
My favorite memory is me and my friends this is like...
Wait, so were you sleepwalking?
No, I would yell at them because I would get scared if they moved around the hotel room while I was sleeping.
Oh, so you're in bed saying this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
And then I asked them the next morning, I go, do you guys always announce when you get up? They're like, yeah, because you yell at us in your sleep if we don't.
That's insane.
Yeah, my favorite memory too was I think it was college or post-college. I went to my friend, her name's Amy too, like her hometown, and we were like partying and having a blast, and we ended up like crashing at a random friend's house that she knew, and we all slept in the living room, and I just met this guy's night, and he was like sleeping in his other room, but he'd get up and get water, and then the next morning he comes down to the living room and he's like, who the hell was yelling at me who are you all night? And it was so funny.
Oh,
he was telling us, love it. He's like, there's some crazy person that I walk around my house and they yell at me. And he said that he would like come out for water and I'd be like, who are you? Tell me who you are now.
Oh my God, that's wild.
Yeah, and he told me that. I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I tend to yell at people in my sleep.
So sorry.
But it's because I'm scared. Like, because I always have, my worst fear is like,
an intruder.
Yeah. Someone being in my house. Because one of our friends, I don't know if you know this story. Do you know Caitlin's story?
No.
So Caitlin, Phoenix Caitlins, I know 2 Caitlins.
Oh, Phoenix Caitlin story. Yeah, wow, so no, I definitely don't know this.
When she lived here before she moved to Louisville, she told me that one night she lived in downtown Phoenix. She was like asleep and she wakes up and she sees the door of her apartment open. And her cat's like meowing like crazy. And in her sleep, she's kind of like, you know how like it takes you a minute to really come to reality.
Oh my God, yeah. She was in deep sleep 3 and 4.
She was like, kind of like, how did the cat get the door open? And then she kind of came to and was like, what the fuck? Sat straight up.
Oh no.
And she had, I think, 2 phones because of like her job. Regardless.
Sure, yeah.
Someone came in her room while she was sleeping and took her phone.
Oh my God, I have whole body chills.
That's my worst fear is like, being asleep and someone was watching.
Did they ever catch the person? Or
well, it was too late. They left.
Well, I don't know if she had cameras or anything back then, but
no. But isn't it? Yeah, terrifying, right?
Holy shit! I don't think she's ever told me that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
What a nightmare!
I would never be able to live
a real living nightmare.
I wouldn't be able to live by myself.
No, I mean, great. There's ghost children in my attic, and now it might be an intruder.
Well, your apartment. I think you're in a good position because your apartment The walls are so thin. If you made any kind of loud
True.
scream, everyone in your apartment's going to hear you.
Plus Ella, she don't take no shit. Thanks, girl. Except right now she's sleeping like a little cutie, but she'd come at you. But anyway, nightmares are very distressing, clearly.
Yes.
And God, poor Caitlin lived a real one. Yeah, that's awful. Obviously, they have a number of disturbing emotions. They obviously are correlated with anxiety, stress, fear, sometimes traumas, emotional difficulties, illnesses, perhaps, and again, the use of certain medications or drugs.
That makes sense.
So, makes sense, right? I think you said while you're taking the malaria drug, you had some wild-ass dreams.
I did, very vivid.
So, then we move into lucid dreams. And this is, do you know what they are? I know you said you came across it, but...
No, because I was like, I'll leave that to Krista.
Awesome. They are essentially where the dreamer actually knows you're dreaming.
Okay, I've experienced that before.
And you actually may maintain some control of your narrative. It's almost like a simulation, kind of, like where you're controlling, like a choose your own adventure in your dream kind of thing, which is, I think, kind of fucking badass. I've only had that, I think, once or twice.
I think I've had it, but it was only like probably for a minute. It's very short-lived.
Yeah, and then it, like sometimes it just stops.
Yeah.
But they often occur, again, the measure of control can vary though, and change, to your point. They often occur in the middle of a regular dream while the sleeping person suddenly realizes it, right? They're like, oh wait, I'm dreaming. Okay, cool. And then they can control it, or then sometimes it just stops. And then some people experience it at random. Others claim that they can actually sleep train to report themselves as being able to control their dreams. So with practice, again, with like everything, you might be able to actually control your dreams. Then again, we have sleep paralysis, which we're going to do a whole new episode on this, guys, because it's happened to me countless times in my young adult life. And
didn't you have it recently?
I didn't.
I thought you had it when you were going, like, at the beginning of your divorce.
Oh, I probably did, but I probably blacked it out. Yeah.
Sorry, not to bring up bad
yeah, I probably blacked that out. But
sorry to bring bad times up.
Oh, good. As a young woman, though, going through puberty in college, I would have them at almost every night. And essentially this
Do you remember them?
Yeah. It's fucking terrifying.
I don't think I've ever had one before.
I don't recommend.
You don't
10 out of 10, don't recommend.
Yeah, it sounds awful.
But essentially, you're woken up in, I think, REM, and so your brain is still like frozen, right? Because remember, in REM, your body's paralyzed.
Yeah.
And so when you wake up, you're conscious, but you're in your bed, whatever position, you cannot move.
Yeah, I know you're paralyzed.
And you're paralyzed, but you can hear. You can sometimes see, but from what my experience is, it literally takes your whole body and you're forced to open your eyes. And you have to tell yourself, like, you have to fight yourself. Say, I can do this. Open your eyes, open your eyes, open your eyes. But meanwhile, there's a lot of lore behind it, which is why it's going to be its whole separate episode, because this happens to humans for centuries and since we've existed, where there's the theories of the demon theory, the old witch theory, and people have interpreted that as like something on their chest because they're paralyzed, and that paranormal phenomenon or demon is haunting you or possessing you in this state. Again, there's the scientific explanation through dreaming that we've now been able to study, that it's just your body's motor functions are shut off.
Okay, I was going to ask you. Yeah,
because you're
in REM?
In the REM, right?
Yeah.
So your body neurons are frozen, but yet your conscious mind is awake. So that's the scientific explanation, but it's terrifying.
And this might be a question, and we could table it for when we do the episode, but do you know why certain people experience it and some don't?
I don't. I know that my sister and I were experiencing it at the exact same time all the time. And you know, she is the scientist and the doctor of the family, so she's the one who actually told me the scientific explanation of it years ago, because of course she's going to investigate it, right? It's happening to her too at the same time it was happening to me so frequently, and we're both freaking out, calling each other like, what the fuck, it happened again, and she's like, look, here's what it is, here's the medical version. I still believe, as you guys might imagine and assume, something else to it. I obviously believe the physiological functions, but I still think in that state something's happening, because I know I have experienced some weird shit, and I'll get into it in that
Are you
episode.
trying to tell us you're possessed by a demon?
No, not a demon.
You're a witch?
I could be. I might could be.
She's a demon!
Anyway, I just was like, that's sleep paralysis. We can move on because we're going to do a whole thing. And they're recurring dreams. And again, that's tied to anxiety typically. And it's almost always what I read, exactly to your point, recurring dreams always involve things in your life. So a symbol of, like, let's say you're a police officer, you would dream of the field of police work, or your best friend that you work with and have a podcast with and you see all the time.
Yeah.
Your spouse, your significant other, a co-worker, a boss, maybe giving you trouble. So no matter what, they did correlate. The dreamer always associates some type of symbolic meaning with real things and people and places in their life. Like exactly what you said at the top. And then I covered drunk sleep very briefly, but again, you don't go into REM during this period, and so you wake up feeling exhausted. So
yeah, I mean, I've experienced that.
And then wet dreams. Ding.
Oh, I knew you'd bring that up.
Ding. Have had several lately, probably because that part of my life has been rejuvenated.
Do the listeners want to know this?
Maybe some of them do. But anyway, those are the types of dreams. Stages of sleep, we can understand those. Different types of dreams, we all know those. Hopefully y'all have had wet dreams. Back to science. Let me go back to science. There are several theories, as I said, out there of the why we dream. And some of them are actually really cool. Two of them involve simulation. So again, think of The Sims. And it goes back to the scenario I mentioned with the not losing your sight almost. Mm-hmm. But not exactly, but similar. So the threat simulation theory. They believe that your mind is practicing a threatening situation. It's preparing yourself for, like, again, back in the day, there was a lion coming. How are you going to prepare to fight this lion off? And so your brain's using this as a practice trial to ward off threats, to prepare yourself.
Okay, interesting.
And then dreamers have reported in this theory, 2/3 out of people studied report that their dreams consist of at least one threatening event. So
it's like a survival tactic, like kind of like evolution. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. So there's that one. Similar simulation theory is the social simulation theory. So as we evolve from lions and tigers eating us to I saw tiger.
Oh, that song's amazing.
Oh, it'll never get old. But so social simulation theory is next. So as we evolved away from that and became more sociable beings and societies, this theory, dreams would help us to practice non-threatening, physically social situations. So like how to behave.
Okay.
In a civilized way.
Okay.
And it lets you practice. Let's say you're nervous about a speech or a job interview. Exactly. Yeah. It would allow us to practice.
Interesting.
And simulate any social threat that we're worried about.
Okay.
There is the memory and emotional processing, which I covered just as a scientific way to our brain to process and store memories, retrieve them. There is the proto-conscious theory, which is really interesting, I thought. It's essentially where our brains are merely just genetic simulations of ourselves, and we're trying to rewire our consciousness, like by understanding our consciousness through these dreams. So it's really just, and again, kind of evolutionary, like byproduct. Mm-hmm. And again, we have the accidental evolution of dreams.
Okay.
Being a byproduct of all that science shit happening. So
interesting. I mean,
science.
It seems like it could be like a combination of all those too.
I think so too.
Did they suggest that? Do you know?
They don't. There's not one widely accepted, agreed upon
held
theory in the community yet, which is why I think, again, it held so much fascination with us, because we don't know. And even the scientists are like, we don't know. This is what we think it could be, but we don't know for sure.
That's cool, though.
So, yep, again, no consensus on why, what, or how we dream and why it's a function. We do know, obviously, they've ruled out all the mythological stuff, and they have largely abandoned, they being scientists and psychologists, to this day who study sleep and dreams have abandoned Freud's dream theory of assigning meaning to everything, and instead are going towards these theories that I just posited or shared. They more so are again about cognitive functions and how what happens when we sleep and dream affects our brains while we sleep and while we live.
Okay, interesting.
So that's where the science is
cool.
at now. But back to the mysticism, because that is me. There are so many inventions that happened because of dreams.
Oh, yeah, I did come across that.
So I'm going to cover 7 of them really quickly.
I know one of them.
You do, which is...
the atom bomb.
Yes. And a bad one, but yes, that is one of them.
I did come across that.
There are some good ones. Atom bomb, arguably not so great.
Okay, this is like a really weird tangent here, but the other night I was like, I just can't wrap my head around what the fuck an atom bomb is.
Were you high?
I don't think I was.
I was like, that's a very high question.
No, but I was just thinking about it because I was doing research and I came across the atom bomb and I'm like, I know what it is, but I can't wrap my head around it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we can talk about it another day.
I couldn't tell you scientifically what it is. I know what it does, but I couldn't tell you how it works.
I'm just like, wow, how are some people so smart? They figure this stuff out. That's what amazes me.
Well, maybe dreams helped.
Yeah, but I want to they say dreams take all the credit.
No, but it could have helped. So this is from famousscientist.org. 7 great examples of scientific discoveries made in dreams by the doc. Okay, Amy wrote this.
Dr. Holt. Back at it again.
We have the periodic table. Mendeleev's...
Periodic? Is it periodic?
Yes, periodic table.
I was like, is that the French way to say it? Periodic. The periodic table.
I don't know. I don't speak French again.
I was like, is this something I've never heard of?
Anyhow, during his dreams, Dmitri Mendeleev.
Okay, that's a guy who's smart as fuck there.
Smart as fuck.
Who's dreaming about the periodic table?
Yeah. He also was a charismatic professor, and oh my god, you know who he fucking looks like? Charlie Manson.
Oh.
Holy shit.
From the side, I thought it was like Sirius from Harry Potter, but yeah, I definitely see the...
Holy shit, it's Charlie Manson in a past life. Anyhow, number 7 was the periodic table. Let's move on. Number 6, we have the theory of evolution, or natural selection in evolution.
That's an interesting theory.
Which wasn't Darwin. I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought he created it.
He said Alfred Russel Wallace traveled to Brazil, apparently, and during a dream, he had hallucinations that they found out were actually caused by tropical fever. And then when he woke, he found that the theory of evolution maybe had come to him by natural selection.
Okay. God, who are these people?
I'm
just like, who dreams like this?
These smart ass scientists.
Yeah. Like my dream is like me, like I don't have that smart of dreams, I guess.
Yeah. Number 5, we have the discovery of the structure of benzene and aromatic chemistry.
Is benzene a medicine?
It's an atom.
Oh.
Of sorts.
Oh god, I have to think about this now.
Yeah. So August Kekule, it's German, I think. I don't know. Kekule had been worrying about atoms and how they were arranged.
I mean, I worry about that all the time in my sleep.
And specifically the atom of benzene. What was it shaped like? He couldn't figure out their structure. And he fell asleep. He dozed off in a chair, evidently. And he began dreaming of atoms dancing around. And eventually, in his dreams, the atoms arranged themselves in a circle.
Okay.
Much like the classic never-ending snake that eats itself.
Okay.
And so that's how he supposedly discovered the chemical makeup of benzene. And it opened up the field of aromatic chemistry.
I can't relate to these people.
Which means a chemical bonding. Because I didn't know what the fuck that meant either. So, there's that.
Yeah, because isn't there a medicine called...
benzos. They make you knock out.
Like benzidine or I don't know. Anyway, move on to the next one.
Well, benzidine is just Benadryl.
Oh, that's what I thought.
I think. Anyway, okay. Number 4, we have another mathematician, smart man, I'm so sorry. Srinivasa
Sounds good enough to me.
Srinivasa Ramanujan. I apologize. That was butchered terribly. Okay. He studied mathematics, and sadly he died at 32. But in his life, okay, this is math talk. He produced 4,000 proofs, identities, conjectures, and equations in just math.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, whatever that means. But essentially, it sounds like he wrote 4,000 math stories and equations.
I wonder what this guy was like to talk to. Like if you ran into him at a bar. I don't think he doesn't sound very fun.
I mean, some scientists have the social gene, some not so much. So, with this, he had a dream, and he built the ecliptic functions and number theory, which were all correct, apparently, and so ahead of his time. Apparently, according to Cambridge University, this was like a big deal. And he would say that the Hindu goddess Namagari would appear in his dreams, showing him these proofs. So he got his ideas to create such a massive amount of mathematical equations through this goddess in his dreams. Okay, number 3, we have the scientific method. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rene Descartes, how we actually study things in math and science, and even prove that ghosts aren't real, to your point. and using the scientific method is very important. So that's pretty damn cool. Real quick, just so we remember what they are. 1, never accept anything as true until all reasons for doubt can be ruled out. Number 2, divide problems into as many parts as possible and necessary to provide it in an adequate solution. Number 3, thought should be ordered, starting with the simplest and easiest to know, ascending little by little and step by step into more complex knowledge. And number 4, make enumeration so complete and review so general that nothing is omitted.
Cool.
Very cool. He claims that it came to him in dreams in 1619.
Okay.
But look at everything we do know. It's because of this man.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
All through a dream.
I mean, all of these are amazing.
All of it. And I believe we're on number 2, proof that our nerves actually transmit.
Oh, cool.
This is Otto Loewy. He thought that this was possible, but he could never prove it until he had a dream. He woke excitedly during the night and wrote it down. In the morning, he could not remember the dream, but he just barely read his notes. And then he had a dream about the problem again. And in this experiment to prove his idea, he remembered it by writing it down. So he carried out the research based on this dream, publishing in 1921, and it took 17 years of subconscious thoughts for him to realize that these signals do indeed transmit like chemicals to our different parts of our brain. And he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine in his work for this, because he's now the father, by the way, of modern neuroscience.
Okay.
Pretty cool. And finally, we have
the atom bomb.
No, the fossil fish. Louis Agassiz. None of these are women, P.S. I'm going to talk about a badass woman in full force, so we're good on that coverage in my story. Good. The fossil fish. Louis Agassiz was...
Maybe it's their wives that were dreaming about this and they stole their dreams.
They probably did. That's cool. Something I want to study more when time is like couples that like hadn't have the same dream. You know what I mean? Have you heard of this?
No.
Where like you're dreaming next to your partner and like you're either in each other's dreams or you're having the same dream at the same time. Anyway, I didn't have time to cover that, but I have heard of this.
Well, we can do several follow-up
on dreams. Yeah,
dreams.
Definitely. Okay, Louis Agassiz was the world's first and foremost fish species expert. Cool. For both current and extinct.
I mean, I love to eat seafood, so
he'd been trying to understand the structure of a fossil fish for 2 weeks, but could make no progress. Apparently, though, his wife, there's the woman, wrote about the solution and how it came to him in dreams. It's way too long of a letter to read, but when wholly exposed from the dream that she wrote down that he said he had, When wholly exposed...
So she would write his dreams for him?
It sounds that way.
Okay.
His drawing then succeeded with carefully classifying each fish. And their, like, zoological, like, structure.
Okay.
You know how they have, like, scientific names for genome?
Yeah. Like a plant, we don't really call it by its scientific name.
Right. So he did that for fish, evidently. Which I guess is important if they think that we have any evolutionary things from fish or could find disease genetic healing from them, I guess, in practicality. But that sums up dreams. Obviously, in a nutshell.
I loved it.
We don't know shit about fuck, Marty.
I loved it.
About dreams.
That was super fascinating. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope you all have sweet dreams tonight.
Yes, that was awesome. And then don't forget, on Thursday, we'll be telling our stories. You want to do a preview for yours?
Yeah, mine is a badass woman named Dr. Roz, the Queen of Dreams. And she has a special place in my heart now and forever because she studied divorced women in their sleep.
Oh.
And the impacts of those dreams on their emotional well-being.
And mine is the Sleepwalker Killer. I'm not going to tell too much, but...
But Dr. Roz is actually in your case.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So do you know my whole case story?
I didn't read it.
Okay, good.
I only know, like, snippets. And she actually was the key testimony. Or key witness.
Oh.
Expert witness, excuse me.
Okay.
Who had to give testimony regarding her expert on dreams and sleep.
Very cool.
So, that's
Tune in, and if you enjoyed, we are a broken record, but if you leave us a review, it makes our day.
Not only does it make our day, it'll help us keep making this podcast for y'all. So please rate, review, subscribe. Head over to Patreon if you have $2. Hell, I don't care. Send us $2. We'll take it. And not only will take your $2, but we'll take your idea, by the way, for any topic you want to hear us cover that we have not hit on.
And on that note, should we say peace?
Peace, bewitches.
Peace. Sleep tight.
Nighty-night.
Don't let the bugs bite. Thanks for listening. Check us out on Instagram or bewitchbanter.com. Suggestions for the show? Emails at bewitchbanter@gmail.com. Credits, Music Phantom Fun by Jonathan Boyle from premiumbeat.com. Podcasts edited and produced by Krista Hins and Amy Holt. As always, if you enjoyed, please rate, review, and subscribe.